We are live. So, welcome to episode 256 of An American Werewolf in New Jersey. I am the American Werewolf. In the house tonight, nowhere near Dublin, we've got Marty from the Trash Picture Show. He's keeping his distance. We've got John K. Alvarez located in the frozen tundra of South Jersey, like the heat miser. He's like the freeze miser. So like from coast to coast, this is our cold miser here.
That's right.
And we've got Eric from Hey Internet. Eric here. Thank you for joining us, fellas. Me, fellas.
Mm-hmm.
Glad to be back.
Yeah, it is 2025, and this is the first stream of 2025, coming up on the beginning or the conclusion of 4 years, the start of the 5th year of the show. It's continuing to go, and no plans of slowing down anytime soon.
You've come a long way from someone who says I'm not going to be a fucking podcaster, Mike.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's a growing experience. You learn something, and you know, sometimes there are long periods where you're just kind of doing, and then you know you have a couple of breakthroughs here and there. So I'm hoping to implement some of that this year. And,
nice.
You know, just keep on going. I think we'll definitely this year we'll reach 300, the 300th episode. So it's all good. It's all good. And I'm glad that you fellows, who have been here from the get-go, are still here now. So I'm always appreciative of that. I want to start off by saying I send out, and the show sends out its prayers to the people in L.A., who are dealing with these terrible fires right now. I have friends out there that I've contacted, and so far, everyone that I've contacted is safe. Thank God for that. And a member of the show, Rod, who we haven't had on for quite a while, actually lives out there. And I was very concerned because I tried to contact him for a while, and I didn't get a hold of him. And then I called. You know, like, holy shit, you know, like, what's going on here? And then he got back to all of us in the group chat and said, yeah, I'm fine. Rod being black, of course, I, you know, encouraged him not to loot anything and, you know, steal any colored TVs.
Nice.
In which case he said, you know, well, I'm in the market for a PlayStation 5. So, you know, in order to offset that, we'll see about setting up some sort of GoFundMe. You know, so it's rather than post bail money, we'll get a GoFundMe for a PS5. You know, and
this is a one-bit intimidating whatsoever, Mike. This is like fucking.
Hey man, you know, he didn't fucking do it. You know, he didn't do it. He didn't. You know, if he's not looting, there are no police dogs after him or anything like that. So
that's because they're too busy handing out tickets during all.
That's exactly right.
They're handing out tickets. It's a fire sale.
Now, if Ron had known that they were like still handing out parking tickets, he might have been tempted. But I got to him in time. Everybody's TV is where it was when they left, and all is well with the world. Now,
except for the fires.
Yeah. Except for that. But you know, you can only deal with what you can deal with. So that's what I'm focusing on. So I'm having a little visual problems here. I got a new camera that's on its way, but it won't be here until Friday. So I'm gonna deal with this in a second. I wanted to cover this film before we went on Christmas break, and we didn't get a chance to. I said, let's kick the can. And it's a fine film to start off 2025. I'm talking about Neil Marshall's Dog Soldier. So if you guys are ready to go, shall we get it going?
Yep.
Let's get it on.
Boogie woogie.
Yeah.
Soldiers. I have a Blu-ray copy that is actually a really bad digital transfer. I was watching it today. I've seen it several times. Many, well, more than a few times. It's a good werewolf film. But as I watched it today, I'm going to start off a little different. I was a little annoyed because I may be the only person here that's done it. I'm not sure about Marty. I know Eric hasn't. I can't speak for John. I just got a chance to see. John, what are you doing?
Screwed around with my computer.
I can see that.
I figured you're blank. I was giving somebody else something to watch.
Would you like to ball up some tinfoil and next to the microphone?
Oh, I did that. I figured I'm starting 2025 being an
Yeah, just chew right into the microphone, John. That's really the effect that I'm hoping that we can get. All right. Fucking zag nuts, you just, yeah. All right, yeah.
I got some bubble wrap around here I can pop.
Yeah, thank you. You just pop that, like the Naked Gun 3, that guy, Anna Nicole Smith defeats that guy with the bubble wrap, Okay, so yeah, same year, different year, same fucking shit. Okay, so different year, same.
Welcome back, Mike.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. All right. So I was annoyed. And I say this in all sincerity. I was annoyed because I had the opportunity to see Robert Eggers' Nosferatu. And if you haven't had a chance to see Robert Eggers' Nosferatu, I would consider it not just a first-rate vampire film, but a first-rate piece of cinema. And probably quickly moved into my number 2 slot. Let the right one and still stays there at number 1. But the point I'm making is, why don't werewolf films get that kind of equivalent? It's always, a horror comedy or, a sort of werewolf movies always have comedic elements. There's never any real investment towards, the serious. There have been a couple of attempts. The one I was thinking of, and it fell flat, was Joe Johnstone's The Wolfman. I mean, you had Del Toro, you had Anthony Hopkins, you had Emily Blunt, you had Hugo Weaving. You had, even if you get this copy, which is the unrated director's cut, you get a 5-minute cameo from Max von Sydow, and yet somehow they couldn't make it work. But Eggers comes out with this beautiful, detailed, gothic horror film, and where is that equivalent? The werewolf is just the redheaded stepchild of horror. And it's difficult for me because the werewolf is my favorite movie monster.
Right.
Yeah. So that's my annoyance with this. That said, let's just go a quick round robin. Marty, what do you think of Neil Marshall's, for what it is, 23 years now, 23 years of Dog Soldiers? What do you think of the film?
I love this movie. This is the first film I saw multiple times in the cinema. I don't, because going to cinema, it's not a fucking cheap affair. Wasn't fucking cheap back in 2022. I went to see it the first night, loved it. Went to see it with my friends. My friends were decided, hey, let's go to see fucking, I think Attack of the Clones. Yeah, Attack of the Clones came out at the same time. They're like, hey, let's go see Attack of the, I'm not watching fucking digital Yoda bounce around. I'm gonna fucking go see Dog Soldiers again. It's a great fucking movie. It's a great cast. It's basically if Evil Dead 2 Aliens, an American Werewolf in London had a gang ban, and this is their resulting fucking child. This is what this movie is. It fucking ticks all the boxes. It's a great fucking cast. The effects they don't hold up in some regards, they do in others, but by and large, it's a great fun fucking flick, and it does for werewolves what George A. Romero did for zombies with Night of the Living Dead.
All right. John, I should say right now, if you're here in the States, I'm not sure, Marty, where you can access this, but here it's available on Peacock and Pluto TV. So you can find it there, and if you haven't seen it, watch it for yourself and make up your own mind. John, what do you think?
Well, actually, Michael, I've heard you talk about this movie, but I've never seen it until today.
Oh,
wow.
okay.
This was my first time seeing it, and
Okay.
I've heard you to speak about it. I just never looked it up. And I got to say, I'm kicking myself in the ass and crinkling paper by my microphone because it took me this long to see it. I agree. I was watching the movie. There were points that I was genuinely laughing at it because of some of the comic routines that were done that were organic. It wasn't like it felt forced. And I found it, I started rooting for these guys. And I was actually kind of pissed when, spoiler alert, it's a monster movie. Some people got killed because I genuinely were caring for them.
Mhm.
I was actually going through saying, oh, this guy could be this part in Aliens, and this guy could be this part in Aliens. I think James Cameron should have gotten an unwritten credit because they kind of followed a plot line, which James Cameron did too. And I really, really enjoy it. Michael, to answer your question, because the Wolfman is also one of my, if not my favorite monster in the classic monster sense, werewolves don't get that type of love like they get from vampires because, to be brutally honest, even starting with Bela Lugosi, but later on, especially with Christopher Lee and Frank Langella, they started making vampires sexy. People actually started liking them. Werewolves don't want to be a werewolf. Vampires, when they become a vampire, want to be a vampire. Werewolves are in pain. They don't want to see that. This family got together, which, you know, in the movie, and we'll talk about it, that's different. But most of the time, they don't want to do it. You saw it actually even in this movie. They really do. They bear the pain and the burden of being a creature that the other ones don't do. And they did it very well in this movie. I was stunned how much I loved it. And I really do regret not seeing it earlier.
All right. Eric, what do you got?
I think Marty used the key word was fun.
Yeah.
And I think that's why maybe werewolves are looked at differently than vampires, because other than like the Lost Boys, you know what I mean, and maybe From Dusk Till Dawn, even though that's half of that movie is a vampire movie. Vampires are more stoic, romantic, like John said, sexy, stuff like that, dignified. Werewolves are just giant beasts, and a lot of times I think they just go for like the fun factor when it comes to their movies, whether it's schlocky fun, or just action packed fun like this. Like this is, Marty said, like Aliens. This is, or you could put them in the forest. It's like Predator. You know what I mean? With a werewolf instead of a predator. Fun characters, even though for me it's hard to, other than Sean Pertwee and the girl, it's kind of hard for me to tell who's who. You know what I mean? With the accents and the facial features. Just like, well, I've told Marty, like with Alien 3, they're all a bunch of bald-headed white guys. You know what I mean? It's hard to tell who's who. I love the look of the werewolves in this, the lines, from beginning to end. It's a lot of fun, great action, and it's one that I return to a lot. And Mike, we share love with Sean Pertwee, so he's that little icing on the cake for any type of movie.
Yes. I seem to remember many years ago reading in a horror magazine. I can't remember if it was Fangoria or something like that. Before this dropped, this was like late 90s, early 2000s or something like that, that they were going to make a movie. And I think the original title for it was Silver Strike. I guess some reference to silver bullets or something like that. And it was going to be this military team going up against these werewolves. And I guess that's the film that ended up becoming Dog Soldiers. Neil Marshall is an interesting director as well, also directing The Descent.
Yes.
Another, I think that's a first.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, that's the first great horror movie. Was anybody here when we covered The Ritual? Netflix?
Not me.
No.
I was.
Yeah, I always thought the difference between The Ritual and The Descent was like The Ritual starts off with this conflict. There goes my camera again. The Ritual starts off with this conflict between all the guys, and at the end, they've all resolved it. Like once the shit hits the fan, the guys get right into business. But in the and The Descent, there's that one just the lead chick just hamstrings the other girl at the end because she found out she slept with her husband. So like nothing. It's the difference between men and women when you like put them in that fucking meat grinder. This movie is fun. Um, it's got a good cast. You got Sean Pertwee, you got Liam Cunningham. I always like Liam Cunningham, and a young
Great
Liam
Irish
Cunningham,
actor.
just pre Game of Thrones as the Onion Knight. You got Kevin McKidd, who I always like seeing. He played Lucius Vorenus in HBO's Rome, one of the best HBO series, maybe one of the best series of all time. You're dropping them in this military sort of setting. Here you got Kevin McKidd and Liam Cunningham. He's just failed Special Forces selection because he won't just randomly just shoot their own dog.
Yes.
And it's an interesting setup in which you can see, I guess it sort of sets the tone for who each of these characters are, because they become, Cooper, played by Kevin McKidd, is kind of the star of the movie. But it sets the tone and the difference between the two. He's like, I can shoot a dog. I'm just not going to shoot that dog for no reason. In which case, Liam Cunningham, who's running the Special Forces selections, just puts a gun right to his own dog's head and just, blows its head off, which you don't see, thankfully. But I mean, it clearly sets the tone, for, what kind of military, the difference between these guys. When I first saw this, I had no idea who Liam Cunningham was. I don't know. He was. Do you think he stole the scenes that he was in, or I'm tempted to think maybe just a little bit, or no? Everybody's kind of on. Maybe Sean Pertwee stole some of those scenes. Maybe all three of them did, and everybody else is just kind of in the background. It seemed like that kind of thing. It almost reminded me of like Kong Skull Island, like you said, aliens. I would say more like Kong Skull Island. All those guys in the Vietnam setting, just enough about them to find them humorous, to want them to live, want them not to die, so on and so forth. And
I like I like all the characters. I think Sean probably just sticks out more, just with his lines and his delivery. I don't want to say his intensity like over trumps everyone else, because everybody has an intense performance in this when needed. But yeah, I think that I think they're pretty equal in this. Sean's just the only one who sticks out for me, probably because I can recognize him over all the other actors who I've pretty much never seen before, or I don't notice. You said one was the Onion Knight, I think you said, from Game of Thrones. I wouldn't know it was him. I didn't know it was him now until you just said it, because he's a lot older in Game of Thrones. He's full bearded and it's white and gray. So other than Sean, I think they're all pretty equal with their performances in a good way.
I remember Michael Caine in his book about acting turned around and told a story that when he was a young performer doing a stage show, he had one line in Act 2, but he was on the stage for the whole show. And when he was talking to the director about it, saying, do I really need to be here? The director said, you have to be here because within the story, you're looking at everything that is happening and giving energy to the audience of showing what's going on. So when you say your line, it doesn't come out of nowhere. It comes from being aware of what's going on around you. This movie was a perfect acting class for that, because everybody, no matter what level of characterization they were in each moment, even when they weren't saying anything. And that's why I think the two actors with the seniority or the more experience stood out more, because it comes more naturally to them. But everyone else was actually doing it. Everyone was really giving that type of performance. This is one of the plus points of this movie. You could have easily gotten some, steroid-driven, perfectly built, oh my God, even though it's Scotland and it's cold and wet, I ripped my shirt off. Look at me pose. But they didn't. They got actors to play these parts.
Yeah, it could have been Jason Statham. This could have been a Jason Statham movie, one guy taking the lead and, his shirt always comes off, that kind of shit. These were more regular guys. And I like the setup that you had when you introduced the regular soldiers or just like sort of doing that performative complaining that people always do at work. You know,
Right.
they don't want to be there. This is bullshit. You know, I could be doing something else. You know, this, that, and the other. They come off very relatable. They come off very likable. You're not seeing any big revelations. It's a simple story. You know, it's a very simple story. It doesn't try to be anything other than what it is, which is, you know, just a general, you know, horror movie. But the guys that are in it do a good job, I think. It's interesting. It's got some interesting cinematography. I don't know. Was this filmed in Scotland? Marty, do you know that?
Luxembourg.
Oh, so Germany.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, you've got some interesting cinematography. You know, they're doing those. I guess there weren't drones from 20 years ago, but some of those high shots up in the mountains of what is supposed to be the Scottish Highlands, so on and so forth. You know, some interesting forested area. You know, that looks, you know, kind of clustered and claustrophobic. It's a good werewolf setting.
Right.
You know, there's never any clear daylight. You know, it looks kind of damp and shitty and foggy. It works. It works for a setting.
I love the fact that even with the dialogue, they set up the isolation. I remember one guy said somebody should have heard the gunfire, and another character says, "I live 50 miles from here. I'm the closest one. I couldn't have heard it if I wanted to."
Right.
But that set up the whole fact, you know, they're isolated, you know, without giving too much drama to it or too much dialogue to it. It was just that simple. And your head went, they're on their own.
Marty, go ahead.
There is, as you guys said before, and there is a great setup to the characters. You are giving, I think that's missing in a lot of movies nowadays. In the likes of Aliens and the likes of Predator, you got time to meet the soldiers, you got time to know the soldiers, you got to see their unique characteristics. You had Spoon, who was the kind of have-a-go, kind of fucking gun-ho hero. You had Kirkley, who was mad about football. And the thing I really liked was the dichotomy between Sergeant Wells and Liam Cunningham's character. While Wells, he's obviously the leader, he's obviously their sergeant, and he's obviously their commander. There's almost a fatherly figure about him. He grabs fucking Liam Cunningham's character. And he's like, "You were scaring my lads. Now shut the fuck up." And then you have the dichotomy of Cunningham's character. They're bait. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about his own men. He doesn't care about anyone. He is a black ops soldier. Everyone is disposable. So you have the soldier who gives you shit about his men and the soldier who doesn't give a fucking shit. They're cannon fodder. They're fucking they're meat and a steak. And it's just that comes to the head later on. And I really fucking like that. And I like how that's set up in a very brief scene when they find him at the camp. That is set up perfectly. And I think a lot of movies are missing, like, as I said before, in fucking Alien or Predator, you get time to know the characters. As a result, you get time to like the characters. And as a result, you get pissed off when they're killed off. And this movie sets that up perfectly.
It's a way of investing in the characters. I mean, one of the complaints that people always say about Stephen King is that he takes too long when he writes his books. But in storytelling, you know the characters that by the time the door closes and you're on the roller coaster of his story, you don't need to be reminded who these people are. It's the same thing with this. You knew who these people were. The two sitting around the campfire moments with this core army unit, by the time it was over, like I said in my head, I was saying, this actor reminds me of this character. This actor, you know, it made you got invested in them. And then when they died, you were like, excuse my language, but
you said it right, John, when you did like the Stephen King analogy, because, you know, at least me and Mike were huge fans of King as a writer. And I've always said it before, what King's strengths are, you know, are the characters. So we get to know them. And when they're put through hell, like these characters here, we're put through hell with them. And now when they die, we're actually pissed.
Right.
When they survive, we're very, very, very happy type of thing. And that's how it is with, like, you know, with Aliens, with Predator, and with this, you know, I may have a hard time personally just like deciphering who is who. And I've always been bad with character names in movies, from the very beginning. That's why I say Sean Pertwee instead of his character name. You know what I mean? But when we go through that, you also said like roller coaster ride, we're feeling the ups and the downs. We're feeling the intensity.
Mm-hmm.
And then when that one character that we really love bites it, we get pissed. But then we don't really have time to mourn because we still got a good 20, 25 minutes left. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's interesting because, I mean, they do it in such a simple way to demonstrate, they're sort of just regular guys, like they're having that conversation and they start talking about what each of them is afraid of. Like, what are you afraid of? And the guy's like, well, torture, or, castration. And, the one guy's, well, I'm afraid of.
Watching the penalty shootout.
Yeah, watching
the penalty shootout with Joe. I just love that.
Yeah. And, like, he's telling the truth. That's what he genuinely is afraid of. And the one guy's, well, was it Kevin McKidd? He's like, I'm afraid of women, and spiders and spider women. He kind of turns it into a joke, and they come across. It's really simple writing that effectively, inserts you into the story.
Everyday dialogue that you can tell these guys are with each other 24/7. You know what I mean? They can bullshit with each other like this. It's the same way you would bullshit with the coworker that you enjoy talking to every single 5 to 6 days a week.
And
even Pertree's Wells, like, okay, these guys are in the military, but he gives them a bit of slack. He lets them bitch. He lets them fucking backtalk him as well, and that reinforces this is a unit. They've been together. They're able to fucking kind of just be open around each other, like,
Yeah, and Marty, I think he was right in the way that Pertwee comes across as a father figure. He's also the man with the most experience because he starts talking that story when they ask him what he's afraid of, and he's like, the thought of never seeing my wife again, like, terrifies me.
Right.
And then he starts telling that story about Desert Storm.
Right.
And that goes back, 10 years before any of these other guys were probably, still in high school, this, that, the other. He's got that age discrepancy, and he starts telling that story about the tattoo, and the guy who steps on the mine, and the only thing that's left is, that patch of skin, with the devil on it, and it's it's like an older person, able to relate that and it scares the shit out of the guys, and he's just telling a simple story, but he has, that much experience. And you can tell that they respect him and take him seriously. So it's simple writing that establishes a lot of things in a very straightforward and easy way. It's a really good script. A really good script.
And I love it how he set it around a campfire, so he gave it that campfire feel.
Yeah, and then to have a fucking giant cow land right in the middle of the fucking camp, a second later.
It's a perfect example of the simplicity in, like, the storytelling is what we're telling. But it's also simple with the horror. Even the special effects, when they were used, it was minimal.
Yeah.
And it went for what they could do and what they, were able to do, and it worked.
And
it really did.
It's super simple because, they're telling the campfire tale, then you have that animal thrown over, the carcass and everything, and they're talking, natural causes. And then someone walks by, and then he stabs a piece of meat that's on the ground. He picks it up with his knife and he looks at it and natural causes my ass.
Right.
So just like, unless you have no idea what you're getting into with this film, it's a werewolf, but they're still building up that tension, that bit of danger, because, you see this carcass, they don't know what they're getting into. You see how big that chunk of meat is on that knife. You know what I mean? So, and they're walking straight into that storm. And that, again, we always say it, less is more. Just that little bit of the animal being thrown at them, and then they're finding the bits and pieces as they're walking up this trail.
Right.
It sets the tone.
You can see the limitations that they had with their budget.
Right.
Yeah.
And that they, like the initial gun battle that kicks off once they rescue Captain Ryan, and it's night falling again, and the shit starts to hit the fan with the howling. You don't really see anything. Like, you don't see anything. And it's just, the soldiers just shooting. And I remember the first time I saw it, that one soldier, his gun, for some reason, it won't fire.
Right.
And I was
Right.
like, oh shit, and you keep expecting to see this, monster. You keep expecting to see the werewolf, and you never do.
Right.
But it still works. You can tell why, but you don't mind. You can
Right.
tell. I guess it's just because budget constraints. You don't really, you don't see the monsters very often. If you do, you see them in quick flashes until the end.
They
when
don't overuse it because they know that the effect, it's cool in certain scenes when it's shot right, when it's in the right kind of lighting. The werewolves do look cool, but there are some scenes where it is exposed kind of full natural light, and you're like, okay, it's a bit rough. I can tell that's a dude in stilts. But as Mike was saying, they don't overuse it, and kind of relying on the POV stuff also enhances the kind of fucking battle sequences and stuff.
When they use a special effect, a good example is the guy with the gun jammed, the being the first killing. That came out of nowhere, and the first thing I thought was he was led into a trap. Then you saw a quick brief of the hand, and his head flies off. And I went, I actually rewound that because I'm going, that's actually really cool. The way they just did it. They weren't overreaching. They were relying on what they had.
Yeah.
And that's what made it work.
Yeah, they kept it simple. They kept it very simple. Man. It isn't a complicated story or anything like that. As much as I complain about wanting something other, that doesn't make this film any less of an enjoyable horror flick. It's good. Almost in that way, and Eric would know this. I don't know about you other two. Almost in the way that Howl is enjoyable. Howl's a fantastic werewolf film. We should get back to that and recover that again.
Another Sean Pertwee movie, yo.
Oh, that's right. He's the conductor.
He's the conductor.
Yeah.
I loved also in the first scene when they found the camp, and then one guy lifts up his boots.
Oh yeah,
and I went
in all the viscera.
And I went, that's perfect because it was just enough that it wasn't comical or gross out. But I went, oh wow, I got you.
It gets the point across.
Yeah.
And again, Sergeant Wells being the kind of father figure there. Another soldier would be barking at his men. He's like, oh, the fucking radio's trashed. And Wells is making a joke. They probably didn't want fucking Kirkley to hear the footy results. Like, just
He's keeping them together.
It's
just a great character moments, character moments.
Or it's when he tells the one guy, he says, "Don't be a hero," and then that guy comes back and Pertwee's guts are hanging out. Oh, I thought you said don't be a hero, and he's basically saying shut the fuck up. This isn't the time type of thing. The little ball busting that they have with each other.
Yeah. To see in the initial battle, the one guy gets decapitated and and then
runs into a tree. Runs into a tree and gets impaled.
Yeah, that was a bit much, but that's okay. I was like, okay. But Pertwee getting disemboweled so soon, I didn't see that coming the first time. And to be honest, I hadn't seen this in quite a while. It's been a few years. So watching, I'm like, oh shit, that's right. I forgot. He gets, he gets fucked up like really early. And I remember the first time watching it, I almost wasn't paying attention to the fact that he just kind of recovered.
Yeah.
I'm almost not paying.
What's going on? That's how it works with it.
Yeah, it's like that misdirection with the basketball. You ever see that illusion with the basketball and there's a gorilla that walks through and nobody sees it? Have you ever seen that video?
Yeah, I've seen that video.
I'll send it to you guys. Yeah, there's these guys. They're like shooting, playing basketball or doing something.
Yeah.
And you're watching the game, and they're like, "Did you see the gorilla?" And you're like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
I haven't seen that, but I've seen it before. It's like it's like a meme or a video. It's two bikini-clad women, super sexy. They're bouncing up and down, and then say, "Oh, I bet you didn't see Godzilla in the background." I've seen those before.
Well, it's a misdirection. Because you're so preoccupied with what's happening externally as they're trying to escape. Because you want to see more of Sean Pertwee, and so you're getting more of Sean Pertwee, but you're like, wait a minute, like an hour ago you were completely disemboweled. Like, how the fuck are you? And then you're like, oh shit.
Oh, I love that too. My guts are hanging out. Well, we'll shove them back. They won't fit. Yes, they will.
They're your guts. Yeah.
They came out. They can go back in.
Yeah.
But you
That's-
even actually with that sleight of hand, like you saw it with the other guy, the Black Ops guy. You saw him do the same thing, and they were quick enough to catch that
Yeah.
the characters. But then because I think it's because you like Sean Pertwee,
Yeah.
you were going, "Oh my god, it happened to him too." And I remember seeing it. I just went, excuse my language, if there's any children watching, but I went, "Oh, fudge,"
Yeah.
because it was because I liked him, and then I knew it was going to happen. It's like, damn it.
I remember he got taken out. It was like in Aliens, because in
Right.
Aliens the Sarge goes first, Sergeant Apone.
Yep.
Right.
And you're like, oh shit! Like the Sarge is like slapping Bill Paxton, getting him in, Hudson, get over,
Would you like me to
yelling
get
at
your slippers for you? Yeah.
yeah, and then all of a sudden he's just gone.
Mhm.
And so a similar thing happens. Basically after that it becomes like the Alamo.
Right.
Where they're, trapped inside this house being rescued by this woman who just, conveniently happens to show up.
Yeah.
Excuse me. What did you guys think of the creature design?
I liked it. I'm always a fan of the bipedal werewolf. We get that more than we get the ones that are on all
Yeah.
fours. I liked it. I liked how they were genuinely extra tall than what we've normally seen of a
Mhm.
werewolf. They obviously grow when they morph.
They look like basketball players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that they got the super long legs, so it also makes them look even more intimidating.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? To this group of guys, and I thought it was really cool looking.
John, what did you think?
I love the fact that they, going back to what Eric was saying about being tall, because it wasn't grotesquely tall. And if they made it CGI, they could have actually probably made him bigger. And I'm like, no, they didn't. He was just, these guys were average height, I would say anywhere between 5.5 feet to 6 feet tall. And the werewolves were like 7.5 feet. So you gave them that bit of intimidation to them. But I also love that in the dark, when they were like in the shadows and everything else, they were scary. They were so scary as shit when you only saw part of them
Mhm.
or a bit of them. I loved that. At one point in time, I swear to God, I thought that one thing looked like a lion, in the dark type deal. But I don't know why. When I looked at it, I'm going, I had to rewind, going, oh no, all right, it's werewolf. Just by the way they were looking at the prey, they had eyes that just looked at you and said, "You're meat." I love that.
All right. Marty, what did you think? Creature design.
For the most part, I like the design because, as I said before, Marshall didn't overuse it. I think they really worked in shadow. Some of the scenes kind of like close up. There's one good scene where you get a good look of it, is where one of them comes through the window and Wells is passed out in the bed. That's a nice full fucking image of it. Yeah. But some of the other scenes where they're like fucking striding around the house and stuff, I'm like, it's a dude in stilts. But again, they don't they don't overdo
That's a drunk
it.
guy in stilts. Wait a minute. What the fuck are we
Yeah.
A bunch of drunk Scotsmen out here. Get the fuck out,
That's right.
but I don't hate it. And again, like you said, they worked within their budget, and what you get for the most part is a solid creature effect and creature design. So much so, actually, Soda now showing toys, Universal company, you could get an actual action figure of those werewolves.
Oh, is it a 1/6?
It's NECA size. It's NECA size.
Okay.
I like what you were just saying. When you saw them, especially towards the end of the movie, they could have really just filled them up, with just them walking in.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But that would have taken it away. Even when you saw them in reality, it was just for that they still kept it that split second or two. And that's what I think really made it work for me anyway.
So here's a quick question. I guess I'll give you my opinion. I thought it was okay. I'm not a fan of the big-eared, sort of Howling style werewolf, although I do think the one good thing about the Howling was the transformation scene.
Mhm.
That was a very grotesque sort of transformation. You didn't see too many. You got a little transformation here and there. You could see even by what they, excuse me, what the budget was in terms of the transformation. It was just kind of fingers, and then Cunningham goes up under the table, and then he pops up, and he's just a werewolf, and that's fine. Yeah, but I'm not a big fan of like a standing dog kind of werewolf with the hind leg, kind of.
Mhm.
I'm almost more of a. I mean, obviously, I'm a fan of the Rick Baker, American Werewolf, kind of the namesake here. But as I go on, I've become more and more of a fan of the Chaney style, and even the Del Toro style werewolf from the remake. I like that. And even with it was bad CGI, but he even went on all fours on a couple of different occasions. This was bad, but yeah, not my favorite style of werewolf.
It looks a lot better than what we're getting from Lee Winnell's Wolfman. If you've seen those pictures
I
that have been recently released.
I haven't looked. I started to glance at it. I'm going to go. Obviously, I'm going to go. I'm going to go opening night. I'm going to go see it. But yeah, I haven't looked, and I'm trying to avoid it. I'm trying. Somebody dropped like the transformation
Eric,
today.
Yeah.
Eric, is that thing that you put out of Universal Horror Nights? Is that the official design, or is that some shite they just cooked together for the actual Wolfman design?
Well, there's two things. They had one for like the Universal stuff. It was like a guy in a suit, scaring kids and stuff like that, which looks awful. But then they've dropped some stills of like the actual transformation scene in the movie itself, and take that with a grain of salt. We don't know what stage of the transformation it is. I don't think that's the final form, which is kind of stupid if you're dropping what the Wolfman looks like mid transformation, because lots of times they all look fucking stupid when they're halfway through.
Right.
But what we've seen so far, I'm a little disappointed. I'm gonna go see it because I like Lee Winnell. Anything he's involved in, I've really, really liked. I really liked his Invisible Man movie. So I think this is promising. I've seen one of the trailers, and it definitely, Wolfman or not, it definitely seems like its own Wolfman, kind of like his Invisible Man was his own Invisible Man. So I think it shows promise. But the images we've seen so far don't look really good.
It's Christopher Abbott also. He's the werewolf. And if you don't remember, Christopher Abbott is the actor from Brandon Cronenberg's Possessor. He was the guy who was overtaken and was fighting back. He's the guy who kills or tries to kill Sean Bean. In Possessor. So it's him. He was good in that. I like his acting. The wife is the girl who played Ruthie from Ozark. And I love her to death. So it's got an interesting cast, and it looks like a really limited claustrophobic setting, like they're almost sort of barricaded in this house.
Right. And to answer Eric for a moment, because I saw some of them clips too, and in my head, it doesn't look like it is mid-transformation to me. But then again, I sat there and said, there was a acting teacher who told me once, he was talking about the musical Peter Pan. And he said, I have nothing against that musical, but once you see Peter Pan fly in the beginning of the movie or the beginning of the show, you can get up and go home.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing else really in that story. Once you see it fly, that's it. The trick is done. If you saw the full transformation, people were like, well, I want to go see the movie. I see what it looks like. I think it was a way of trying to bring them in.
My trepidation with this though, lads, is this was supposed to get a Halloween release. Did some people watch it and go, oh fuck? So maybe they done a Hail Mary play and retouched it.
It's also Blumhouse though, dude. So that's the thing.
Yeah.
You gotta take that with a grain of salt too.
Did they release anything for Halloween?
Blumhouse?
No, and was there any big horror release for Halloween?
I'm trying to remember because I remember seeing there were a few.
I don't
I
remember
don't
seeing
think
anything.
so, because I mean, I took my. It's not going to ever be discussed on this channel. I took my daughter to see Beetlejuice, but that was September, and that's the
Right.
last thing I can think of.
Smile 2 came roughly out about that time, late September,
Yeah.
early October. And there was another one that came out that really.
Oh, the substance came out in October, I
Yeah.
believe, with
Right.
Demi Moore.
Yeah.
When was
and
Late Night with the Devil? Actually, guys.
Late Night with the Devil?
that was
When
that
did
was
that
in
go?
that
Was
was in
that
That was
for
spring.
Halloween?
2023.
Oh fuck! Sorry, I'm going.
Yeah, brother.
fucking-
Yeah. No, it's funny
Uh,
because I just went to go see that movie, The Damned. Remember, I was messaging you while I was in the
Yeah,
theater?
yeah.
And this is that theater that always drops it a week early. They had dropped Late Night with the Devil a week early, and that was I remember just going to that theater. Yeah, that was
Right.
23.
We got Mike's two favorites. We got Salem's Lot and Terrifier 3. It looks like in October.
Right.
So
I knew there was another one that came out.
If you want me to
Fucking
just
Salem's
stab
Lot.
myself in the mouth with this pencil now and just fucking
that-
get it over with.
hey,
That-
you asked, dude.
That Salem's Lot movie. That was. You can't tell me a fucking computer didn't write that fucking movie.
I
It
haven't
was
seen
terrible. It was terrible.
It
was terrible. It was terrible. I mean, I said, that we had two versions of that equaled about 3 hours, and they left a lot out. I said, there's no way you can make a movie about Salem's Lot in under 2 hours. You can't do it.
Oh yeah, you can't.
You can't. And, they proved me wrong, but it fucking sucked. Holy shit, it was bad.
Well, no, Michael, you just change your opinion now from saying you can't make a movie about Salem's Lot under 2 hours. You just changed it to.
I wasn't being literal. I mean,
No.
I wasn't talking to anybody on the spectrum. I'm just saying, it's just.
But
You can't make.
you just say you can't make a good version of Salem's Lot under 2 hours.
No, I'm not. I'm not trying to split hairs that fucking much. I mean,
I honestly think that someone put into a fucking AI system. Oh, Stephen King is aesthetic. Cliff notes from Salem's Lot, ChatGPT, and that was the fucking script. It was like, what the fuck is this bollocks? Honest to God, man. Mike, it took me 5 hours to watch that movie. I had to go away. I was so fucking bored.
Yeah, I had a similar experience. I had to stop like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah,
I remember you didn't like it, Marty, but wow.
But well, it goes to back to this movie. The story of this movie is what really makes it work.
Yeah.
When you get something like Salem's Lot and I don't want to pick on Stephen King because I do like him as a writer.
Mhm.
But a lot of his stories that people get a hold of, I think there's somebody going, "Oh, I can make it better," and that's where they screw up.
Yeah, this was that old 80s sort of Stephen King's, and then you'd see the title and it sucked because his name was in the title.
Yeah,
This was like that. This was like
that's
that.
That's how they advertise it.
Now, Mike Flanagan has a new Stephen King coming out called Life of Chuck, and that's going to drop this year, and I'm very much looking forward to that because it's Mike fucking Flanagan. But and then Oz Perkins,
The Monkey.
is coming out this year. With Monkey, the Monkey, and that looks really fucking good. That looks really fucking good.
Yeah.
Mike, I stand by my fucking statement. If you want a good modern version of fucking Salem's Lot, Midnight Mass. I know it's not a fucking adaptation, but that's the closest you're going to come to.
Oh yeah.
Mike and I went episode by episode on this show of Midnight Mass. I fucking love it.
Beautiful.
Great movie.
Beautiful to watch. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. Man, if someone would just dedicate that to like once, just to a werewolf movie.
Oh yeah.
Just put that kind of investment into a werewolf movie. Or a limited series or something, that's all I ask, but I have to write it myself, I guess, and do it my fucking self because that seems
actually
to be the only way
that might be true. Mike, you may have to.
That. Jesus Christ, because I mean it's not that hard. I mean, yeah, of course I'm saying it's not that hard. What's the problem? Get it together out there.
Give me a pen and paper. Oh,
come on, Eggers. Give me. I got my pencil sharpener right here. Hold on. Write it out right. So, I mean, after that, if this movie would come back to this, it sort of becomes like Fort Apache, the Alamo, and they get picked off one by one, and Liam Cunningham's a werewolf, and they start to get. Well, no, who is it? Sean Pertwee. It was sort of shitty when Sean Pertwee starts to admit, like something's wrong here with me. And he starts to have that conversation with Kevin McKidd, and I was always a little. I mean, just to get off topic again, while we're off topic, I was always bummed that I never saw more out of Kevin McKidd really after Rome.
Right.
He did this. He had a bit in Ridley Scott's Kingdom of Heaven, which is director's cut. I think is his best work. But then I never see the guy. I don't know where he is. I think he's a fantastic actor.
He bounced around a lot of fucking American TV shows. He was a mainstay in Grey's Anatomy for a while.
Oh, was he?
Yeah. And I think he was either in a Jack Ryan movie or a fucking Jack Ryan series. I'm not 100% sure.
Okay. Well, I know that who was it that guy who's the guy who plays Jack Ryan in the Amazon series?
John Krasinski? Or
yeah, he might have been in that. He might have been in that, the Krasinskis.
Yeah. Emily Blunt's husband. What I did want to say.
Yeah, Emily
Mr. Emily Blunt.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Blunt, Mr. Emily.
Yeah.
Mr. Emily.
Yeah. A Quiet Place.
I mean, it's A Quiet Place is a good movie.
It is a good movie.
I saw the third one.
Yeah.
This
That's a
year,
prequel, I think.
Yeah. What, the third one?
The third one's the prequel.
One is called, yeah.
Is it a prequel? It's not exactly a prequel.
It's the first day. It's supposed to be the first day they show up.
Yeah, taking place with unrelated characters.
Right.
Lupita Nyong'o is the star. Once you understand what it actually is, it's really good. It took me about 40 minutes. I'm like, what the fuck am I watching? And then it hit me what I was watching. I went, oh shit! Like this is a really good movie. I enjoyed that.
I enjoyed it a lot. It was when I was still working at the movie theater. I was able to catch it. I enjoyed that.
I don't know. I mean, to be honest, this time watching it, I didn't follow this. I didn't follow this through all the way to the end. I don't know if you fellas did, because I just sort of know how it goes. It ends. The one guy left standing. All the werewolves get killed. You get some one-liners. So on and so forth. Go ahead.
I love the one-liners in this. I mean, they're not good. They're never going to rival fucking Predator. But like when Spoon knows he's going to be killed by the werewolf, I hope I give you the shits, you fucking boy. And just spits the chewing gum into him. There's other funny moments where Cooper's introducing Megan to the unit, and he goes, "Yo, this is Doug, this is Spoon," and well, the Sarge, him inside out after they done surgery on him. It's just a great little line. There's great one-liners in that. It's just even Marshall, because he's such the characters are so likable. The story, so it's okay when he rips off other movies like Cooper going short control bursts or there is no spoon. Like he gets away with it because. It's cleverly used,
Right.
But there's also the scene where they're gluing Pertwee back together. You know what I mean? And he's got to be so fucking drunk. And apparently Pertwee really was drunk on whiskey during that scene. So that's not acting.
See this lad? I'd let him marry my sister. Punch me.
I had one.
And then the punch that knocks him out was a real punch too, because he just wouldn't shut the fuck up. So he was really punched in the face.
That scene is a perfect scene for showing how to insert comedy in a serious situation, because it wasn't always
it wasn't hokey,
but that's the thing as well. There's this really tense scene, but they pepper it throughout. Like there's really funny moment where they're looking for weapons, and one of the lads takes out the fucking turkey carver, and he's like, "Well, can I use this? Can't I fucking use this?" And you have Spoon again, fucking your man's like, "You're fucking loving this, aren't you?" Like fucking Zulu, man. 40,000 Zulus.
Yeah, Rock's Drift.
Rock's Drift.
They have a black op getting ready to shoot someone, and another guy throws up on his head.
Yeah.
Which I think is brilliant. I actually had to stop the movie because I was laughing too hard.
There is another character we didn't talk about at all. That's the dog.
Yes.
Sam.
The dog, yeah. Sam is kind of a character, and I remember the first time I watched it when he was pulling at Sean Pertwee, and I thought he had his guts. He had the bandage, and I'm like, no, what the fuck are they doing? And then I realized, okay, he's got the bandage.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. I actually loved the way that was a tie-in from the dog in the beginning.
Yeah.
At the end of the movie. I just loved the way they did that. And the dog actually sticking up for the last soldier.
Yeah, Cooper's humanity fucking wins out in the end because, like, the dog saves his arse from Ryan, transformed Ryan.
Exactly.
So it's cool.
Oh yeah, that's another good line when Coop says to Ryan, "Have you licked your balls yet?" I did. I laughed out loud at that. I went, "That's actually a good line."
All right. I guess it's been almost an hour. Is there anything about this, any aspect of this film that we have not discussed that anyone would like to mention?
I think it's got a great score from beginning to end. Whether it's just regular, to help with the intensity, or I thought the score, honestly, when it's just the soldiers in the very beginning walking through the forest, it really reminded me of First Blood. The way you see them walking through the forest and the way the score
sounds a little bit, that trumpet sound. Yeah.
So really good score.
It's interesting. Okay. All right. Anybody else? Go ahead, Mark.
The marketing for this movie was great because the marketing they done viral marketing, and they done it in such a way that the UK recruitment videos for the Territorial Army, it's like, what would you do in this situation? But instead of
did they really?
falling out of a boat, what would you do if werewolves attacked your Jeep or something? And it just shows it's like join army now. It's just it's if you get a chance, guys, go online, look up the fucking dog soldier.
I'm gonna have to look for that.
Recruitment, it's become a recruitment poster. I was gonna ask you that. Is this a well-known movie outside of the horror community, like in your neck of the woods, Marty?
Oh, this is fucking loved. This movie, I whenever I'm at, like, if there's a fucking party or one of the lads wants to throw on a movie, the teen Aliens or Predator is always brought up.
Okay.
So
I like, actually, Mike, one of the things I don't actually bring it up enough in certain movies. I want to watch it again because I want to know who's the person who did the fight choreography.
John, if you want, text me your address. I'll mail you a copy. I have an extra copy of this. You can have it.
Because I love the fact, the way they did not just the fighting of the guns, but some of the physical, actual fighting. I've seen sometimes they're done in these movies, and they're either too simplistic that it doesn't look real, like it looks like, that type of, or they're so overly complicated. I'm going, oh, come on, man. Are you kidding me? This was real. Even when he was fighting the werewolf at the end, and the punches he was throwing.
Oh, the fucking toot. He sends one of the toot flying out of its head, and it goes into the wall.
But it actually also flashed back to the very fight in the beginning that he was having when they were asking him to join the special ops. It's the way he was fighting in that situation. It's another part of the through line that they kept it with this guy. Like you mentioned, Jason Statham possibly doing this. If he was in this movie, all of a sudden he'd be breaking out all of his kung fu moves that you never saw throughout the movie, but it would have been a Jason Statham film. They kept this as part of the theme, the way they were fighting and moving and everything. It was actually really well done. That they kept it and it added to the believability.
It's a good one. I mean, it's a top. It's probably in most people's top 5 werewolf films. It's the average horror fans. It's in their top 5. I would say so. It deservedly so. Deservedly, because there are a lot. There are a lot of bad werewolf movies out there.
Yeah. Well, what did you guys think of the mid-credit scene? With it's kind of a play on how fucking Britain
Tabloids?
is more obsessed with football.
Oh, the newspaper?
Yeah. 5-1. 5-1. Yeah.
I
and this
actually
tiny
laughed
fucking
out.
segment. My unit was killed by werewolves.
Werewolves ate my unit. Yeah.
I laughed out loud at that. I was like, that's actually perfect for this movie.
Yeah.
Maybe sometime we'll all get this crowd back for the Descent.
Please.
We'll have some Neil Marshall. I've
That's
got
a great
that.
fucking movie.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's a humorless fucking movie, actually.
True.
And I think it's a better film, actually. I don't know which one came first. Most probably this one, I would imagine.
Oh no, it was Dog Soldiers, then this, then Doomsday, then the Descent. No, Dog Soldiers, Descent, Doomsday, Centurion. If you get there's
Centurion
only
is fucking great.
Centurion is fucking awesome. I think he kind of really went downhill after Centurion. He mainly started going back into TV. He directed a lot of episodes of Game of Thrones and a really good fucking TV show. If you liked Rome and you like Deadwood, check out Black Sails. It's about pirates.
Oh yeah, I've got the whole fucking series back here. That's one of the best shows that nobody ever watched.
He was a producer on that, Mike.
Oh, was he really?
Yeah. He was one of the people who got that show off the ground.
Okay.
Mike, it looks like he directed an episode of Hannibal, whatever episode the Great Red Dragon was. He's directed an episode of Westworld. The episode of Game of Thrones, he directed the Battle of Blackwater episode, it looks like.
Oh, really?
And then you and me are like the only two people in the world that liked his version of Hellboy. He did the Hellboy remake with David
did
Harbour.
he really? With David Harbour?
Yeah.
That was a really good movie. I've got that on Blu-ray. It's a shame
like
people
that.
don't like that.
Eric, just he started directing it and then he got fucking tossed, I think.
Oh, really?
About halfway through. So
wouldn't be surprised.
All right, let's get to the part in the stream where we rate the film. This channel has a rating system that goes from 0 to 5 up by half. So 0, 0.5, 1, 1.5, all the way to 5. So 0, for example, would be I'd rather spill a quart of rotten milk on the floor than watch this movie again, all the way to 5. This is the destination. This is why I watch films in the first place. This is the journey. Marty, what would you give Neil Marshall's Dog Soldiers?
I'm going to forgive it because of budget limitations. But I am going to give it a 5. I love this fucking movie. Again, I've seen this movie 4 times in the cinema. I can quote the fuck out of it. For me, it is one of the movies that made my teen years and made me appreciate horror, really.
Okay, 5. All right. It gets no better than that. John, what do you got for us?
When I finished seeing the movie, I was sitting there thinking, all right, 3.5. And then I kept thinking about it, and I'm going to take it to a 4, maybe. But even now talking about it, I'm going to take it to a 4.5. There's some things that I got to still work in my head that I didn't take me out of it, but I went, It was enough that it wasn't perfect enough to give it a perfect score. But it's close, so that's why I'll give it a 4.5.
All right. Eric, what do you got for us?
Solid 4.5. Like I said, with the characters, me having a hard time telling them apart, I'm not going to knock the film for that. That's just me. You know what I mean? Anything I'm gonna knock this film for, sure, some of the close-ups of the werewolves, like Marty says, guys on stilts, that's nitpicking. The beginning of this, when the campers are attacked, when that fucking bitch, when she doesn't scream at all, when she's being dragged out of the tent, okay, that was kind of bad. I'll knock it for that. But overall, this is pretty much from beginning to end, just solid fun. Memorable lines, great action. The woman, I mean that what was up with her right when she conveniently showed up. Whatever, horror movies are fucking like that. But I had a lot of fun. Solid 4.5. This is something I return to a lot. Okay,
all right. I am going to go with a 3.5. 3.5. I think that Eric describes it perfectly. This is a fun movie. It's a fun movie to watch. It's not a bad movie. You could have cut the camping scene out completely. Yeah. You didn't really need it at all. I'm not sure why it was in there. It's just some sort of like warm up or introduction, so on and so forth. Really good casting, really good script. Not crazy again about the creature designs, but that's just me. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I suppose I could stretch and give it a 4, but if I'm being honest, I feel that it's a 3.5. It's fun entertainment. It's good level entertainment. I don't know that it's great entertainment like the 4. I don't feel that it's a 4.5 in terms of my rating, like we're moving into cinema or anything like that. That would be like maybe Chaney's The Wolfman or something like that. But yeah, 3.5. Here's a question while we're here. Eric or maybe Marty, because I don't know if John has seen it. How would you compare this to Ginger Snaps Back?
Oh, I think it's better.
I think it's better than Ginger Snaps Back. I like the characters more. There's more that happens, but that's because I think they had more of a budget than Ginger Snaps Back did.
Yeah, Ginger Snaps Back didn't have much of a budget, but I like those werewolves.
Yeah,
I liked those werewolves, those quadruped werewolves. I like the tone. Me, I prefer more serious and darker sort of tones. So I like that a lot. The idea of being trapped in this sort of soldier fort in like the 19th century. That kind of worked for me. But I was just a quick question. Just a quick question. All right, Marty, plug something.
I'm actually, I've nothing going at the moment, but if you get a chance, go to my girlfriend's channel, Jen's Reviews from the Grave. Jen has done her top favorite movies of 2024, so definitely check that out. She has a very interesting list and she does fantastic content. So yeah, be sure to check her out.
Okay. All right. John, anything you want to plug?
I don't have anything to plug right now. I will probably in about 2 weeks.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Eric.
YouTube channel, Hey Internet Eric here. It was last month, but I also have my top. Me and Frenzy got back together. We did our top 5 horror movies of 2024. He had 5, I had 5. We only had one movie that was on both lists. That was a lot of fun to do. And like I said, for last year, I was only discussing movies that I had never seen. This year, kind of to make it a little bit more fun, every month on my channel has a theme. So January is Jean-Claude Van January. I am discussing, unless I have a live stream or something planned, nothing but Jean-Claude Van Damme this month. I've started it out really fun in mine and Marty's opinion. I discussed Street Fighter. That video is up. And I just dropped today my thoughts on Time Cop. Next week, I'm planning on, who knows, it'll fucking change tomorrow, at least discussing Bloodsport. And maybe Sudden Death with Powers.
Can I make a recommendation?
Sure.
If you're talking about Jean-Claude Van Damme, there's a little-known Van Damme film out there, and it was before he cracked it big, and it's called Black Eagle, and it's got Sho Kusugi, who was the ninja from like Enter the Ninja, and those
Revenge of the Ninja. Yep.
Yeah, and
Master, I think as well.
Huh?
The Master. It was a TV show with Lee Van Cleef, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if he was in that one. He might have been. But he is the good guy in that, and Van Damme is the bad guy.
Okay. I just added it.
I remember watching it. I'm like, holy shit, this is really good. Because this was after Van Damme had made it. And then I watched this old retro Van Damme movie where he's like this mercenary. And I'm like, holy shit, this is really fucking good. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, that's fine. And then I got a whole list of stuff that I might or might not do, but it'll be fun. Some movies that I do love, some movies I've never seen or heard, but it's going to be pretty much nothing but Jean-Claude this month. Aside from this coming Saturday, I have a live stream scheduled, another interview. The subject or the guest is, his name is Germ T. Ripper, and he is a podcaster. He is a YouTuber, and the way I found him was, going to my death matches and stuff. He's also a pro wrestling ring announcer as well. So he's got a little bit of everything going on. And what I also like is he has one of his big things that he likes to do is he's also a motivational speaker. He's been clean and sober for many, many years. He speaks as a speaker for AA, and we're also going to get into him doing that. So it's going to be a little bit of everything with him this coming Saturday, 6 p.m. Central Time on my YouTube channel.
Okay, that's
Very
cool.
nice. Very nice.
Hey, Eric, if you get a chance for Jean-Claude Van Damme, there's a very short and funny routine that Kevin Pollak did in his old stand-up days, where he's saying Jean-Claude Van Damme sounds like three chefs screwing up the soup. And it's like about 45 seconds. But if you can find that, put it on the show. It's actually very funny.
I'll check it out.
All right. For this channel, I just dropped a video that isn't going to matter at all because I just sort of put it out in terms of determination. Last night I was telling Eric I worked on this video because WWE Raw has moved to Netflix. So I haven't been able to watch a Raw since I came back to America because I don't have cable television. I only have streaming channels. This was the first Raw, big premiere. I got out, it stayed up all, late watching that. Went to work yesterday, came home at like 6 o'clock, had a quick dinner, worked from like 6:30 to like 11 on this video, which then proceeded to get clipped. And then I lost the whole project in Premiere Pro. So today I took a sick day and I was working on it and, finally got it out there. But now, the relevancy has kind of passed because it was Monday night. Now it's Wednesday, but that's out there. My thoughts on WWE, the premiere. So I might be doing a little more WWE related content because it's just fun. And now I have access to fucking watch it. I think 2 months from today, I'm actually going to my first ever SmackDown, which is going to be a lot of fun. It's coming to Philadelphia. So that's going to be a really good time. So I've already got the tickets for that. That's going to be a good one. I don't know what's going to happen in terms of live streaming. I have no, things really lined up. I'm still working on some interviews. I'm actually still working on maybe three very, very, very big interviews, which I'm trying to finalize. So we'll see what's going on. There may be a live stream next week, probably, but as it pops up, I'll sort of move that way. I think, it was funny because I use the Regal Unlimited. I pay $20 a month, and then I can just see any movie that I want for free. And so they sent me a review. I pay 53 cents every time I want to watch a movie. And I saw 37 movies last year.
Oh, wow.
37 movies, and I didn't fucking review one of them. I think I reviewed like two. I reviewed like two. Like I just went to the movies and then came home and went to sleep or something like that, or went out or something. Yeah. I should have just been churning out, just content. So, that's another thing I'm going to be working on as I just went and saw that Irish folk horror film, The Damned. And it was fantastic. And so I put a review out on that over the weekend. I got the Monday Night Raw thing, although, I lost the video and it got out late. So I'm going to be doing that. I don't know that there's a movie out this weekend that I want to see. I think that new Den of Thieves comes out, but I'm not really interested in that because I didn't like the first one. But then next week, next weekend, The Wolfman drops. So I'll be looking forward to that, and I'm definitely going to make a video about that. So lots happening. I just don't know that, I have a live stream film lined up for right now, and, we'll play it by ear.
That's okay.
Gotcha.
Hold on a second. We got Jen. What's happening, Jen? Happy New Year to you. And she says, great stream. Thank you very much. And then the Horror Cat Dance. Hey, Jen.
Hey.
Thanks for stopping in, man. You're at the tail end of it, but we appreciate it as always. All right. That is it for this show. My thanks to Marty for staying up late. The Trash Picture Show. My thanks to John K. Alvarez. Staying warm out there in cold South Jersey. And my thanks to Eric from Hey Internet Eric here. We will see you all in the next video. Hold on, we got one more comment here. Wish I could say I was excited for Wolfman. Well, I'm paying 53 cents, so I'm not going to be disappointed.
Hopefully, you get your money's worth too.
Yeah, I get my money's worth, my 53 cents, and whatever I'm spending in gas.
There you go.
The tickets are already out, so I probably they've got it for Thursday night, but I'll have to work on Friday. So I don't know if I want to go to a 10:30 on Thursday and then have to work, but I could do a Friday night's easy. I'm sure I'll do that. Yeah, it's going to be what it's going to be. I think we've decided here tonight that I need to actually write the epic werewolf story. So I've got my pencils right here, and I've got my pencil sharpener right there. And maybe we'll see where we're at by the end of the year, because
like John said, if you want them to be successful for like the vampires, you got to make those werewolves sexy, Mike. So get to it.
That's probably not the foremost thing on my mind. But,
or you can have the werewolf come on your podcast and kill off everybody else that's been on the podcast that's been pissing you off.
Well, there'd be no one left.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's funny. It'll be Rod will be the only one just by staying away.
Yeah,
but I think Rod would also be. I think the werewolf will go to California and find him, because remember, because of Rod, we got Blackula and the fart cloud from Children of the Corn. So
but he might have liked Blackula. That's the twist.
Who are some one-timers we've had on here? We had Ben. We had Ben on once from Cadaver Club.
Yeah.
I
don't know.
I'd love to get Kat Dennings back on again. Not Kat Dennings, sorry. I'd love to have Kat Dennings.
I wouldn't mind having
Christ, Kat Dennings. I love that fucking stream. I love you, Jen. I love you, Jen, but I'd be on.
Yeah. I was thinking this recently. We got fucking robbed in Thor, because I don't know why they put Natalie Portman in there. It should have been Kat Dennings. Kat Dennings is she's Kat Dennings, man.
She's coming to television again.
Yeah, she's got a show. It just premiered tonight, so I'll probably end up watching it on Hulu.
That's the one with Tim Allen, right, guys?
Right. Yeah. She plays his daughter. So she's playing it a little older than she did in like Two Broke Girls.
Right.
Wow.
Doesn't matter to me. I'll watch it.
Yeah. You won't hear me complaining about it. So I'm going to get Kat Dennings on this year. That'll be another goal.
There you go. Say her name one more time and she'll appear.
Kat Dennings! Holy shit!
Right in the middle square.
The police will be. Excuse me. We've had some noise complaints. Someone screaming "Kat Dennings." Can you please
maybe there's a good reason why Mike's camera isn't working right now. Okay.
That's entire. I need a second to myself. So
she's trying to break in on Mike's feed.
Yeah. Happy New Year.
Well, between that and Rod not stealing anything, we're doing off.
There you go.
The fucking year.
Yeah.
So.
2025 starting with a bang.
I used to razz Rod all the time. I would just call him because we didn't speak for Rod's one of those people, like, I've known him for 37 years. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I don't have to see him every day and not see him for long periods of time. And hey, motherfucker, what's up? And he's like, hey, what's happening, or this, that, and the other. And when I told him I was bored and I hated living in New Jersey, this was like 20 years ago. He's like, come live with me. He's like, I'm a building super. I got a building right on the beach. This is the God's truth. He had a free apartment because he was a building super in a townhouse, 2-bedroom townhouse on the beach in Long Beach, California.
Wow.
But he was black, so he never went to the beach. So he never used it. Like, it never occurred to him. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, man? He's like, I don't know. I never go to the fucking beach. I'm like, are you crazy? But I would just I would just call Rod and just razz him all the time.
Absolutely. Actually, that we should do a night of Rod.
No,
we all get on and razz him.
I would call him, like, is this Eric? Are you frozen?
I think so.
Oh, you look really sad.
Well, we're talking about Rod. It made me upset.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. All right. Let's end it on a positive note. All right. My thanks to the Trash Picture Show. My thanks to John K. Alvarez. My thanks to Hey Internet Eric here. Yep. Kat Dennings is on next week, and by the end of the year, I will have the completed epic werewolf. You've heard it here first. I will have the completed epic werewolf screenplay. Ready to rock and roll. Me. Huh?
My Werewolf and Me.
Well, that would be your story, John. Now I'm going to write something else, but You heard it here. It's going to happen. All right. My thanks to everybody. All the best.
You will, sir.
Make their first sparkle. Okay, this is your last time in the comments. I don't know who you are, but go fuck yourself.
See you, Larry.
God bless everybody.
You will, sir.
Hey, everybody. This is the American Werewolf. Thanks for stopping by. Like the video, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification button. Thank you.